Okay, y'all. I'm sorry about that. My other my other phone ran out of storage, so it stopped recording. So I'm gonna have to record on this phone. I'm sorry about the quality, or if y'all like the camera better on the other phone. But yeah, where I'm gonna let me pick up where I left off. So yeah, so I told him that I was quitting because I did not understand why I was being suspended for fighting, and I was in the right, and the girl she definitely put her hands on me first. She swung on me first, and I have every right to defend myself. And I'm like, I have kids. I don't have um time to be sitting around for 2 weeks. So I put in my 2 week notice. I went to my locker and I cleared out all my stuff because I still had a pair of dance shoes in there. I had my dance bag. Um, I told certain staff members that I was leaving for good. That was the last time they saw me dance. That was the last time. And some of them were mad about it because they felt like we ain't gonna make no fucking money because she not here. And oh, sorry y'all. Let me let me kind of sit this against something. But anyway, they were mad like we not gonna make no money because she not here, and they felt like it was one of those things where the manager was overreacting, or just like you should have let her still dance because it wasn't her fault. She has every right to defend her name and her character, and she wasn't even a dancer that came in there like seriously to make money. She was all bullshit. She just wanted to stir shit up and keep drama going. And people were tired of the management hiring girls like that. So I got all messed up. I said my goodbyes, even to the other girls, and they were mad. And they said if she get to come back. I was like, nah, they fired like all the girls that was a part of that. But even they were like, even she works somewhere, they see her at another club, they gonna whip her ass because that was the reason why I wasn't there anymore. But anyway, I said my goodbyes to the certain ones, and I left. I got my stuff. I left. I went down south. I think I had at least 1,500 or so saved up. And then I got my kids and got my car. We hit the road because I'm like, there's no way I'm staying in the DMV. I have no reason to. So I went down to Atlanta, and I already had, like I say, I already had like employment. So I had a day job when I got down there. Well, when I got down there first, I didn't have a day job, but I found a day job in the medical field, and then I start applying for like jobs at the nightclubs, the strip clubs, and stuff. So yeah, I eventually found one. I found a home, a strip club to call home at the moment. So yeah, that's how that story ended. That was one of my first fights. I got suspended for 2 weeks, so I just quit it, that club, and then I went down south. I found another job, and I found another strip club to dance at. Another memory, another memory. Let me think of another memory I have. Another memory I had my first time. Just have been alone with a client and like the private lounge. I was so nervous to dance private, like at this club, this was at a club in Houston because this was around the time I would go state to state. I didn't like stay anywhere too long because I was trying to make money. Once the money dried up, I was all for like the next opportunity because I'm like, I don't like being broke. I don't like even being in broke situations. Like, I'm always looking for a way to have something for myself. I don't like being a broke bummy as bitch. So if the money's drying up over it in maybe Atlanta, I'm going my ass to Houston. If the money's drying up in Houston, I'm going my ass to Miami. I'm going anywhere I can to make some money because I don't like being broke. But anyway, so I gave my client a a private dance in a lounge, and that was the first time I ever went into the lounge and gave a private dance. And I really didn't want to because it's away from everybody else's eyes. So I was nervous, but they always told me that if I felt uncomfortable about like being in a private lounge with a client that don't do it. Like only, if you feel comfortable being in a private lounge. But I was like, no, I'm gonna give him my fee because he wasn't aggressive. He wasn't hounding me or nothing. He just asked for a dance and he had the money. So I went and gave him a dance, but it still doesn't take away, from the nervousness of it. And he saw it on my face. He was a handsome guy too. And he had dreads. He was brown skin. He dressed like your typical hood guy. Like if you into like the hood drug dealer fashion, the way the rappers and stuff dress now, flashy, had flashy designer on and stuff. So we went in a private lounge and he was drinking his drink and sitting down and he was staring at me like I was about to start it. So he was like, "You nervous?" He was like, "Shorty, you nervous?" Because he was like, "See it all over you. You look like you barely can stand up. Like you don't know what the hell to do for yourself." And when I'm nervous about something, like it shows on my face. I don't know how to hide uh, nervousness or confusion to a situation or awkwardness. But I calmed down. He's like, "Hey, you want some of my drink?" I was like, no, because I don't, just me being cautious, being that I've seen a lot of shit at a young age and experienced shit. So I'm like, I'm not going to drink your drink. I'm not saying you're going to spike your fucking drink in my face. This is something you were drinking out of. But he offered me a drink he was drinking from, not like my own drink. But even with that, I was like, "No, I'm good." He was like, "No, I'm gonna seriously get you a drink because you acting like you nervous and you ain't never done this before." I said, "Really, this is my first time giving a customer a private dance." I shouldn't have told him that, but anyway, he ordered another bottle and of alcohol, and it was an open bottle, so of champagne. Because I was like, I really don't like hard liquors and shit. I don't like the taste of it. But he ordered a bottle of, I guess, Ace of Spades or something. It was some type of sweet tasting champagne. But once he ordered a bottle and it was not open, he opened it and poured me a glass. And I was like, okay, let me calm down because he probably thinking I'm on some weird shit and he ain't gonna pay me if I don't get my dance. But after a while, once I calmed down, we talked for a little bit. We sat and talked for a little bit. So I felt comfortable enough to give him a dance, but once we talked for a little bit and we gave each other like conversation and just mingled and got to know each other, I was able to give him a dance. But I was so fucking nervous, and I should have calmed down and stopped like thinking so deeply into it, because I'm always thinking motherfuckers coming in and guys do coming in, they be all bullshit. I'm gonna be completely honest. They are some of them creeps as fuck. But he went off in no bullshit. He like, I would have left it in a little that area outside, like the club. Like if we want to go get a private in a private room with you, he was like, "I obviously like you, and I am gonna pay you, but I ain't off for no creep shit." Cause he was like, "What the fuck? All of y'all naked." So it's like, but once I calmed down and I unwind, I was able to give him a dance. But yeah, that was another memory for me. My first experience giving a guy a private dance, I was extremely overly nervous, but I calmed down after a while. And another memory that I have is on my birthday. So on my birthday, because I was a girl that was popular and well liked. And I know that sound real cliche or that sound real stupid. I don't know what to say. It just sounds goofy to be a girl that's popular at a strip club. But it was mainly because I was so cool. And it wasn't like cool. I was cool with everybody. I was just respectful to the staff. And I was to myself, I was always there. I helped the girls and I always mind my business. I always was there to make my money and mind my business. I never was there to fuck with nobody. It was just bitches that was really jealous of me and they were like mad I was making the money I was making and they wanted me gone. It was like, shit, we not making much of what the fuck she making. She really come in here and she ready to make money. She's not here for no motherfucking bullshit or playing around like or goofing around. She literally trying to get money to pay her bills because it was a time when I started out. I wasn't making really much of anything after a while, even though my first night was good. But it was nice that it wasn't, and I was by the grace of God grateful that I had another job and I literally made enough to pay my bills. But didn't nobody know that because I kept my mouth closed. So my birthday rolled around and they surprised me and bought me a cake and had a little party together. I was just ready to come there to work, and the staff and the girls they put together something for me. So that was, because I didn't have shit planned. I was like, I'm going home on the bed. I ain't doing nothing for my birthday because my manager was like. He was like, "What you doing for your birthday?" I said, "Nothing. I'm just gonna bring in my birthday." He was like, "You're not gonna go out and enjoy your birthday?" I was like, "Nah, I'm just gonna bring it in with my kids and go to work the next day." He was like, you gotta do something. Like you can't just not do nothing on your birthday. And I think this was like my 20th birthday. So they well not 20th, I think it was my 21st. It was my shy of my 21st. I think I was 20 on the 21. But yeah, so they threw me together a little birthday party, and I had so much fun at the club. And I know that sound corny that like they throwing you a birthday party at the strip club where you were, but yeah. So it was a good memory for me experience, but a lot of the experiences because I'm just gonna say we had to make the best of it because the shit wasn't fun, it wasn't glamorous. So I had to make the best of certain situations. So I wasn't, you know, it wasn't always glitz and glamorous or fun, but we had fun moments. And then the nights we had theme, or like when a celebrity would come in for like, I think the All Stars and Super Bowl weekend, we worked and we made a lot of money because they had celebrities in town. So I so happily around the Super Bowl was in Houston, Texas, at a popular nightclub working, and we made the club said from what the owner said they made over $2 million, and the girls that night we made, I would say, each as dancers and bartenders, and I want to say the barbacks that were there too, and then the door girls, and then the bottle girls. I would say, I know for a fact I made 10 stacks, but the other girls, one girl got bold enough to tell me because after she tipped out, she told me, she was like, "Girl, I made 5,000." The other girls, a few of them told me they made 700. One girl honestly said she made 1,200 after tipping out, but if she would have worked, a little bit harder and stayed consistent on the floor, she knows she would have made more than that. But she said she was content with 1,200 because that was the most she made coming out from where she lived, because she said that she never made that much at the other club she danced at. So yeah, I made 10 stacks that night, and that all went to my education. So, what is another memory I have? Mm-mm-mm. Oh, I remember when one of my exes, they pulled up on me. He did not know I was a dancer at that nightclub. It got back to him. He came in there to see me. Like I didn't even know he was in there. He came in there and saw that I was in there dancing, and he got my ass right when I was on stage getting ready to start dancing, and I froze up with embarrassment because I was lying to him, like saying, "Oh yeah, I work at a little traditional, what do you call them, little uh something like Applebee's or some shit." But I was like, it stayed open later. So I said I worked at a bar as a bartender, but I work at a nightclub type bar and it stayed open until 2. And he believed me. And I never thought nothing until when he asked what the name of the place was. Like he wouldn't pop up on me. My stupid ass told him the real name and address, but I knew it was like more than once. I was like, hopefully he get confused because I didn't think deeply into it before when we were having a phone conversation. Like, yeah, where you work? I'm gonna just come up there. I'm like, at first I was like, because they still new and they still under construction, ain't all the way open yet. And then he started getting suspicious and he started telling people like, she telling me the place not open all the way yet. He's like, what the fuck? He was like, people were saying, what the fuck? She full of shit. She lying. Da, da. I knew I was lying, but I can't. I was so thoughtless. I didn't think into my lies. I was just making up shit and thinking he was gonna go for it because he never really think deeply in the shit. I just told him I would just tell him shit and he'd go with it. So Yeah, so this particular time, he really, like, I guess, did his homework because he had a point to prove. I told him the real location and where I was at. He pulled right the fuck up on me, came in and embarrassed me and all that. I was so fucked up that he knew I was in there lying and shit. He was like, yeah. He came right in there and got close to the stage and gave me a look like, okay, yeah, all right. I was embarrassed. I was like, okay. I was just sitting, like, on hand on a pole, just shaking my head, close my hands, like, oh my God, it's, he gave me a look like, yeah, okay, you full of shit. I don't think um, this was out here in California. I think I was dancing at a club in Hollywood or West Hollywood, California. He came in that motherfucker, looked at me, gave me a look like, yeah, bitch, you lied to me and you fucking up your life. And I was so embarrassed, like I got called like, damn. But anyway, so that was another memory I had. My ex, he came into an a nightclub where I was working and found out that I was in it, dancing because I was lying to him about what I was doing. And that shit was that was embarrassing. But I got through it. Did we stay together after that? We were off and on for a long little minute, for like a good 10 years. And then after a while I was just like whatever. Then I met my wife. What else? I don't have any like memories as far as like with like when I danced at a lesbian strip club with like like other females that I dated, like my wife. When I met my wife, or we met in school, but when I started dance, I didn't dance anymore. I went back to bartending when I was living in the same state as her and going to the same college as her. We were roommates, and she thought that I was working as a stripper, but I was like, no, I work at a strip club. I'm just a bottle girl, like a bartender there. So me and her were friends and shit, but she the type of person, she like to prove points because she the type of person that if she feel like you full of shit, she go out of her way to try to embarrass you or figure out what the fuck if you telling her the truth. So I told her, like, because I came back into our dorm one time, it was just we shared like a room, but it was like, okay, it was like a shared room, but it was like a single room unit in an apartment. So if y'all like understand what I'm saying, we were in the same room, but it was just me and her because it was like just one room instead of like there being two rooms connected and four people can stay in it. So it was just a room apartment for two. So I came back, I think 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. I didn't even know she was still up. She was up on her phone, I guess playing like a video game and shit. And I come back in the room. She was like, "Oh, you just got off work." I was like, "Yeah," because I didn't really tell her my moves. I'm thinking in my head, one, it's none of your business, because we were just cool, but we weren't on no like romantic type shit yet. We just here and there, but I gave her privacy. I stayed out of her business, and she gave me privacy, and she stayed out of mine. So yeah, we I get back into the room and she on her phone playing like a video game and shit. And she was like, "Hey, so what's up? How was work?" I was like, "What's good?" She was like, "Oh, you said you was a bartender, right? So how did it go? Did you get any tips?" She was acting like a whole concerned fucking mom or parent. Like when I got back, I was looking at her like, girl, why? Like, literally put my hand on my chin and just looked at her and was like, girl, why you so worried about my job? And I literally said it like that. She was like, I'm just asking. Like, where you say you work again? What's the address? I'm just gonna come in here and get something to eat. Do they sell food? So she I gave her the address and told her where I work. She had her own car, so one night when I was there, she pulled up on me and one of my coworkers like, "Oh, do you know so and so?" She pointed over there in her direction. I was like, "Yeah." That's my roommate at the school that I go to. She was like, "Oh, because she was in here looking for you. She said she wanted a dancer on you, but I started laughing. I said she's not a dancer. She's a bartender." And then I walk over there. I was like, "Oh, can I help you?" And she was like, "Yeah, I thought you was dancing tonight." I said, "I told you I'm not no dancer." And I started laughing. I'm like, "So you trying to be funny?" I was like, I can get you some alcohol. Do you I said, "Do you want like a drink?" I said, "Do you want me to get you this?" I was being mean because she was getting on my nerve. I was like, "Do you want me to get you the specials? It's like $15 off." She was like, "So what you trying to say? I can't afford a drink in here?" I was like, "I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying you can't afford no drink. I'm just asking, do you want to get a special? Because I mean, alcohol expensive." So she was being funny. And she was like, "Nah, you know what? Yeah, I want to drink. Like, can I have two of these bottles?" Why she order like she ordered a bottle of she was there with one of her cousins. She ordered a bottle. I don't know. I can't remember what the bottle was, but it wasn't cheap, and it wasn't no Moet night. It wasn't. She just picked a random bottle off of the motherfucking menu and got it. I think it was like $150. So she bought the bottle. I think it was a champagne or spritzer. I don't know what the fuck it was. I can't remember. But whatever she paid 150 for, everybody was all the bitches that was dancers there. They were trying to come over and sit with her and shit and ask her did she want a dance or anything. And she was like, "Nah, I'm just chilling, looking at the atmosphere." And she really was just there to see me. So I'm like, "Oh my God." I was singing something mean in my head. I was waiting for her cousin or somebody to be like, "Girl, you know good well you ain't got no money to be motherfucking spending $150 for a bottle of alcohol." But I'm thinking in my head, okay, maybe she got her income taxes. Whole time she stayed until I got off, and she was like, "You need a ride home," because for some reason I don't know why I just never like took my car to work. I always literally parked it. I literally parked it in the school parking lot, and I would Uber and live back. I don't know why I did that. I don't know if it was because of the gas or what, or I just didn't like driving at night. But she came up there and she waited till I got off, and she was like, "You want to ride back to school to the campus?" I was like, "Yeah." So we get in the car and shit. I get in the car with her, and we in the car driving back to the campus. I was like, "So where you get all that money from to pay for the alcohol?" She was like, "Girl, don't worry about it. Just like you got a job, I got a job." So I was like, "It must be your income taxes." Why the fuck she started cracking up and started laughing? And she was like, "Yeah, and what if it was?" I was like, "No, no reason, but I told you I don't dance like that. I don't strip. I'm just there serving alcohol. I put that past me. I feel like you was there to see a show, or you was waiting for me to get on stage so I could give you a lap dance or something." She was like, "Well," and she pulled the rest of it. She had a bunch of 20s in her pocket. She pulled the rest out. She was like, "That's why I ain't really tip nobody or throw money, because the person that I wanted to see on stage dancing wasn't dancing. So I just settled for the alcohol." They was like, "Why the fuck?" Her mom was like, "Why the fuck she get her income tax and she put money aside just to come up there to throw at you because she really thought you was a stripper?" I started laughing. I'm like, I don't know if I should be flattered or offended, but that was another memory when my wife thought that I was a stripper and she came up there um, to throw money at me, but I wasn't a stripper. But she came up there and spent $150 on alcohol because she thought that I was up there dancing, but I really was bartending. So the fact that she spent that much on alcohol, it helped out the bartenders because we got some, tips that night, and she did tip me as well that night at the club. So yeah, but the dancers, they were blown. They was like, "Oh, this bitch only came up here for Tiffany." She really was up here waiting for a dance from her. But yeah, whatever with that, because they were hating after that. They was like, "Oh," and my wife she's very fine. She attractive, so the ones that swing that way, they were feeling some type of way, like, "Damn, this is a pretty girl too." Thinking they were about to rack up have a girlfriend. But anyway, that was another memory. What is another memory? Oh yeah, I remember I had to study for an exam, I had an exam coming up, and I literally had to work that whole weekend. And this was a college exam. It was that Monday. This was my finals for my grad program, so I could go become a doctor, but go on to go to residency and shit. And this was the very first time that I did college, and I was trying to get a medical school done and shit. I was grinding. So when I had worked that whole weekend, I told my manager, I was like, I got finals, I got my exam coming up on Monday. I wanna get some sleep. And he was like, look, I get that, but can you at least come in Saturday and we'll give you Sunday off? Come in Friday and Saturday. And I wanted Friday and Saturday off so that I could study for my exam, so I wouldn't be cramming shit at the last minute, so I could be confident during the exam. And I didn't want to get fired, and I didn't knew I needed my income because that was the only job I could really get that I get to keep my money the same night I make it, and I was getting paid on tips and shit. So I went in to work. I was irritated. I was there the whole time. I was mad I was there, but I did my job. I made some good money that night, so I wasn't tripping. I think I made a total of 1,000 a stack, a stack, a stack on Friday, and then I think I made 900 on Saturday. Well, no, not nine. No, it was not the other way around. 900 on Friday. I made 1,000 on Saturday, and I was ready to go. He told me I came in on Sunday. He told me that you get here as early as you can, and we'll let you off at like early when everything's starting to pop off because their club didn't close. I think until 3. A lot of the other clubs closed at 2, but that particular weekend they closed at 3, and I got there at like I think 9:30. I worked at all the way up till 11 on Sunday because Sundays are slow at a gentleman's club. They're not gonna really make no money on Sundays, but that particular night the business was picking up. But I promised myself I'm getting the fuck up out of here as soon as the hour he told me to that I could go because I am not staying. I don't give a fuck. He'd be like, hey, can you I know I said you leaving at this time, but can you say it'd have been hell no. This is not no full time for me. This is extra income. But around the 11 o'clock hour, um the 11 o'clock hour got there and I was like, hey, I'm ready to go. He said give it like another 15 minutes. And I was getting pissed because I'm like, I need to get home to get sleep to study. So a 9:15 roll around. I said I'm not going past 11:30. I mean, I said 9:15, 11:15. Sorry, y'all. 11:15 roll around. I said I'm not going around past 11:30 because he's not going to have me here, and he told me I can go, and I got here as early as 9 something. So 11:15 roll around. He didn't say shit. I got all my shit and I left. I wasn't staying till 9:30. I literally left. I didn't know what was gonna come of it. I thought he was gonna fire me or be like, "Hey, I didn't tell you you could leave." I just got my shit clocked out, went home. I did as much of a brief over before it was time for me to get up and go to school because I had class. Luckily, at 12 noon that day, so it wasn't a early morning exam. So I did get a few more hours. Even though I didn't get no sleep, I got a few more hours to look over my stuff. But I was tired as shit and I was running off a few hours of sleep. But luckily I did good on my real good on my exam and I passed and I graduated because I was like so fucking mad. But that was a sacrifice that, I made. I went into work and I still wanted to keep my job on a night that I really should have been at home sleep and studying to prepare for my exam. But I still, graduated with honors and passed. So I can't be so mad about that. But sometimes your demands in life is more important than a little bit of bullshit ass money at, a dead end ass job. Some shit like, being a stripper or working jobs in the nightlife, you gotta make sacrifices for your future. And I wasn't willing to fail an exam that was that important just to stay to make a little bit of bullshit ass money. I didn't want to be in the motherfucking strip clubs anyway, working as no dancer. I was over the shit and I had other goals and shit. So I luckily, escaped almost fucking up my, life being a doctor. I escaped, someone, tricking me into feeling like I need to commit to a job like that versus like I have other obligations way more important than being a motherfucking stripper that stay at a nightclub all night waiting to get some money thrown on me. So yeah, that was another memory I had because that was a challenge for me to tell my employer or my manager that I wanted to go to fuck home or just to leave. I didn't know what was gonna come up, and I was thinking in my head, he'll probably fuck around and fire me or give me a write up for leaving without telling him. But I didn't give a fuck. I said I'm determined to pass that exam so I can get the fuck up out of places like this. And I think, that, wraps up. Oh, well, maybe I'll speak on, um, my experience because my baby father talked about this all the time. He told all his friends. Like, I remember when I first like got put out of my mother's house and I was homeless and I went state to state stripping. I remember she told me to get out and they told me about time they get back, I better be gone. So I packed up all my stuff and then I seen my mother EBT card on like the bed and shit. She left it out. I stole her EBT card before I left and went down south to start stripping. So I was using her fucking EBT card. She went the fuck off. She was going into that food stamp building, cursing them out, talking about my daughter stole my motherfucking EBT card and she in another state stripping and using that to eat. I sure was. They even added a little the Hat Meals thing to it. And one of the people from the office called me and it was like, "Oh, do you we know you had your mother EBT card, but do you want me to we gonna let you continue to use it? Do you want me to add a little Hat Meals thing to it where you could go eat at like a fast food restaurant?" I was like, "Yes, thank you. I appreciate that." So I was gonna stay to stay, stripping, but I was using her EBT card to buy groceries and shit. Y'all, I was rocking. I even helped out a few of my homegirls, my coworkers. I was like, "Y'all want something to eat? I got some food snacks." So yeah, I stole my mother's EBC card, and she was pissed. She could get no food stamps. She had to wait as long as she possibly could, um, to get a new card and shit. But I didn't give a fuck because I was like, "You don't let me use the card ever, and I don't ever really eat nothing off of it, so I'm gonna put it to use. I'm being put the fuck out." So yeah, so I that was another memory I had as a stripper. I stole my mama EBT card when I was going to state to state stripping. I was racking up, give me some groceries and all that shit. So yeah, I think I'm gonna end it right here. With all of my experiences, memories from being a dancer, and I don't know. I mean, like a lot of people ask me, would I ever go back to a job at a gentleman's club? The only thing I would probably go back to working at a gentleman's club again would probably be bartending. It would never be, me being a dancer. I've been there, done that. So I'd probably go back to a bartending job or, just dealing with bartending that has some extra money. But I wouldn't go back to stripping because it's just too many politics in that. It's too much. That's not, where, I feel my spirit aligns with. I feel like I moved on from that. And it's been a few times, a few employers that I want to hire me for certain positions they knew I was overly qualified for, all because one, clearly the visible look of what my race is and, ethnic, you know, ethnical race reasons and also stereotypes, but also because I didn't want to go back to being a dancer. I was like, no, I'm just here to be a bartender. I don't want to strip anymore. And a few of them were so disinterested after that. I was like, well, nope, well, we'll have any openings for that. And a few of them said they don't have any bartender openings. And I said, well, I need to look elsewhere because I don't want to go back to stripping. But if they ask me that I want to be like a a cocktail waitress, a sexy little bartender. We call them bikini bartender. I could do that, but all I'm serving is alcohol. Ain't nobody serving ass and well, even if I serve ass and titties and but I'm just serving alcohol. Ain't nobody stripping off no pole. Ain't nobody giving nobody no good times or happy endings in a private lounge. A bitch is really in there to make some money and get tips from serving alcohol to the men and women that come in here. I'm not off no bullshit. So other than that, no, I wouldn't go back to that end of it. Just the bartending part. But that wraps up my experiences I had working as a stripper, working in the nightlife, being a night worker. I love you all. I will talk to you all in my next video. Drink your water, pray, meditate, stay positive, love someone, and I'll talk to you later. Bye, y'all.